Hello and welcome to episode 9 of Let's Play Planet Coaster Project Globe Explorer here on Theme Park Worldwide. Now this is the third episode now where I'm working on this Spanish themed area of the park. It's the most heavily detailed area so far and one of my biggest projects that I've ever built in the game actually, and it's really coming together well. As always, thank you for all of your feedback on episode 8. It's always great to have a read through and see all those different suggestions that you guys are making. More about those in just a second. But yes, in this episode, you're going to start to see this area really come together now. It's all the smaller details, more windows, wooden panels, planting, lighting that we're going to be focusing on all these different buildings and around the coaster itself in this episode. And then I'm hoping by the time we get to the end of this episode, we'll be able to move on to the next themed area, hotel, ride, whatever I might be building for the 10th episode in the series. And that's also the episode where I'll be revealing the names that I've chosen for the 3 different rides in this themed area of the park. Now, on the previous episode, I asked for you to suggest all different themed areas that would work in this park, and lots of people have commented. In fact, I think we've got a record number of comments in such a short amount of time on that new episode. So thank you to everyone that's put a comment on there, given some feedback and also suggestions for the theme for the ride and also the area in general and what else they'd like to see in this park. But it does seem that a lot of you out there must be Dutch fans. Hello to the Netherlands, because it seems like you guys want your country representing in this park. So you know what, I think I've got to, haven't I? I pretty much think that that's got to be done. So why not? I am going to build a Dutch themed area with all tulips and windmills and definitely a couple of big rides in there at some point. It doesn't mean it's going to be the next area that gets built. At this moment in time, I haven't quite decided what the next area of the park is that I'm going to build in. I may potentially do a little bit of accommodation next, but we'll have to see on that one. But here we go. Yeah, and it was great reading all them different comments and seeing what you guys thought. A few people said Iceland, that'd be a nice themed area. Someone said like a African savannah would be quite a good area to go with. I really like the idea of that. USA, someone said on there. I think that'd fit very differently to what we've got in this park so far, maybe doing a USA area. I saw Germany in there, but yeah, it seems like literally everyone was like, you've got to build Holland, build the Netherlands. So I thought, yeah, I've got to do it, and I thought I was thinking of doing that from the start anyway, to be honest. Not just because there's a lot of Dutch Theme Park Worldwide fans and just theme park fans in general. I just thought it'd be a bit different, a bit more of a challenge, because like I say, you don't really see the Netherlands represented in that many theme parks. I mean, there's a Dutch area at Europa Park, but in terms of, it's not a very common theme, is it, to find at a park, so that's why I thought it'd fit quite nicely with this. Just back to the Spanish area then that we're building here so far. As you can see, it's really just finishing off buildings that I've started to put in and finishing them off, putting the details in. You know what I'm like when I build a project? I tend to put in a lot of the bases for the buildings and just the walls and roofs before adding the details on, and do that at a later date. That's mainly because I just like to get a bit of a feel for it first, a bit of a look into what the area is going to be like before I sort of commit to doing the full building and theming it all up. But I'm loving this tower up on the hill here, some sort of maybe hotel or villa. Doesn't really need to have a purpose, that, but it's just up there on the hill, but it does work as a great support there for that incline loop as it comes up onto the top of it on the right hand side there. I think it fits on rather nicely. As you can see, just putting in a bit more landscaping at the bottom there, just to cover up some of the foundations and just make it look a bit prettier. But you got to think, like, up in the mountains of Spain, you've got a lot of villas and with swimming pools and that sort of thing, and that's kind of what we're going with this up there in the hillside above this town. And yeah, it's just really interesting reading the comments on what you've got so far. And like I say, you can comment on this episode as well with your name suggestions for the Mack Rides double launch coaster, the top spin, and also the swing ride as well. Get them names coming in and I'll be revealing them in episode 10. As you can see then, more palm trees going in. You might be thinking, well, there's already enough palm trees, but, with it being Spain, there's a lot of palm trees out there, isn't there? Very tropical vibe I'm giving to this. Just adding some more details on top there in terms of putting in the chimneys as well. Good to see, though, that a lot of you have noticed some of the bigger areas in this park as well that are still spare in between the areas. I did notice that in the comments, so a lot of you were commenting saying the big area just sort of behind this, in front of this coaster, sorry, like what am I going to do with that space? And also quite a few people noticed as well how I'd already built the train track through the area but not connected it to the rest of the layout. The main reason because I don't know if anything will get built in that blank area or not, but for now I thought I'm not going to build the train track there. I can easily just add it in at a later date, because the train won't be opening when the park first does, because that'll be one of the last attractions to open as it's going all the way around the lake and interacting with different areas. I'm going to put some more stations in as well. I mean, at the moment it's only got the one station, but there's probably going to be two more, one on the left, one on the right as we move a bit further back. But I thought with the China area and also the Spain area being really close to the entrance, they didn't really need to have train stations in them, because obviously the United Kingdom has got its train station already in place. Yeah, just going to continue putting in some more details over the next couple of minutes, and then we'll move on to the lighting. So as you've seen over the last few minutes there, I've just been putting in some more details on the buildings, carrying on with that hashtag rock work, different barrels, crates, boxes, all to fit with this Spanish theme that we've got going on in the area. And now it's time to move on to what is one of the most important parts of a theme park, in my opinion, and that is lighting. So as you can see, I'm just finishing off the path there that leads from the United Kingdom over to China, because I've not actually put any lighting on there. I realised that as soon as I turned it into nighttime mode and looked at the path and thought it's a bit dark over there. But yeah, you can just see me here looking through the various different lights that are on offer in the game, looking at various different ones, and then I decided on the ones that technically came with the spooky pack, but I thought they fit with the area the most. I mean, you look at them, there's nothing actually spooky on there, meaning that you have to restrict them to that area. So I went with those ones. I thought, you know, they look quite nice, you know, with the different colour of the pole. It sort of contrasts to the buildings and theming in the area, you know, so I thought that'd go down quite well. But yeah, as you can see, just dotting them all around the area. In terms of placement of lights, you just want to make sure you don't put them too close that it looks silly, but you also need to make sure as well that, you know, the paths are actually being lit up from both a health and safety point of view, and just generally so it looks prettier as well. You don't want to overcrowd your path with lights. I have made that mistake before, and also with benches. I think it was the vintage park. I put way too many benches in an area, and then I looked back at it and thought, actually, yeah, it doesn't look great. And obviously a lot of you guys thought as well, why has he put so many benches down? I mean, yeah, people want to sit down, but come on, Sean. Yeah, there was a bit too much in terms of seating around. What I'm doing then now is really thinking about the atmospheric lighting on the coaster. I want some of the buildings and the coaster track to be lit up, but you also need to think you don't want it too much either, because then it'll take away from it with the night rides. You know, there still wants to be some dark sections of the ride. So, you know, I'm just sort of thinking about that now in the placement, actually lowering some of the larger lights all the way down underground, so that I can, yeah, get more of a reflection shining up. They're the smaller ones I'm using there that have coloured to blue. I decided not to put them in the testing area there at the first launch. I was just having a bit of a mess around, but I decided to put a couple of red ones in around the area as well, especially by the top spin, as you'll see shortly. But yeah, you know, you want to make sure with the lighting, like, that it's subtle in some areas. Like I say, with some of these buildings around, I didn't want to go with anything too much. You know, I didn't want it to be too bright, but then I just wanted to have a nice atmosphere at night as well in this area, lighting up some of the track underneath, you know, just so it looks really nice from across the lake as well. Really makes to it. Also noticed there as well on the swing ride there, you can see the blue lighting with the arrows. That just doesn't fit with the area at all. I really do wish Planet Coaster would let you just put in some of the rides and, you know, either had the lighting feature off. Like with that, it's fit more for a sci-fi or space theme. You know, it doesn't really fit with Spain, but I really wanted that exact ride type in here. You can kind of get away with it with the top spin. Yes, it's got a couple of what I would call tacky lights on the front, more fairground style, that doesn't fit with the area. However, you can kind of get away with it, whereas with the swing, unfortunately, you know, that isn't the case. But I might try and maybe build some theming up there at some point in the future, just to try and cover them lights up, because I really just don't like the look of it there with them arrows at night, and I don't want to compromise having that ride because I really like it. It's just trying to theme it and make it fit in better with the area, really. But I don't know, let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. As always, I read through all the different comments and see your suggestions. As you're watching this, I'm probably replying to your comments out in Florida, because that's where I am this week at the time of this episode going on. I actually gone to my first ever IAAPA Expo, and I'm out there in Florida at the moment and having an absolutely awesome time, and it's great to go to the expo and share all different videos with you guys. There's already been some go online here on the channel, there's more to come, and yeah, it's really nice to cover the expo for the first time and see it all. But yeah, basically with IAAPA, it's lots of different manufacturers and rides and different companies that all relate to theme parks that go there to showcase their products, and it's been really interesting to sort of see that and bring videos to you guys and share it with you all. But yeah, there's more to come from that content. If you want to see it at the time, follow our Instagram story at Theme Park WW on Twitter, and also Facebook as well. Search Theme Park Worldwide. We're on all those social media channels. You can find links to those in the video description, and that's where you'll be able to follow it as it's happening. More smaller lights then going in onto the buildings now, as you can see there, just to make sure that it looks nicely lit up at night. Onto the benches then now. So I'm not going to put too many in, but I want to make sure that we still have plenty of seating available. So, you know, in terms of how I place them, I normally put a couple next to each other, sometimes 3, depending on the path. That's the little random path that goes off to nowhere, but it's a really nice area to get some shots of the coaster at the end of the launch and just genuinely capture the atmosphere of this area. Really feel like over the past few minutes this has all really come together nicely now, and it's nearly done. As always with the other couple of areas, yes, I'll go back and add more details later on, but you know, it's in a state where it can open. You know, it's got facilities in there as well, it's got staff rooms, you know, it's got toilets, it's got food, drinks, you know, but yeah, I can go back to it and add more details later. That's the beauty of this game, you know. I could open it for a bit like a soft opening and then go back to it later on, you know, or work on it whilst it's open, but obviously it all depends on how well the computer can handle it, you know, as we've found with my previous parks. So far this isn't going too badly actually. The FPS has lowered quite a bit since when I first started it. However, it's running, you know, a lot better than I say it would have done if I hadn't done some upgrades. But you know, it's one of those, isn't it? Like, you've got to keep your PC up to date, and you've got to think it's been 3 years now since Planet Coaster came out. 3 years I've been playing this game with you guys on YouTube through various different series, and it's amazing, isn't it? Like, just to think how fast that time has gone. As you can see, I'm just working in the area now for the second launch. This is the last piece of theming really that I'm going to add into this area before we have a little ride on it in just a moment, with all the theming in place. If you want to have a ride on it without the theming and just the coaster layout itself, if you go back to episode 7 where I built the coaster, you'll be able to do that there, and you can compare it how it looked then to how it looks now. Let's just say there's a lot more going on in terms of effects, and we've got some smoke going in here now, some red smoke. It's supposed to be like all the wine sort of coming out, like red wine, I don't know, something like that, and some mist, and also some normal smoke coming out from a side angle through some of the boxes there as well, in crates. Obviously the reason there's all these boxes and crates is because it's all being shipped, isn't it? You know, you've got all these wine and drinks that have all been, you know, made in the area, grown locally, and they're all waiting to be shipped. However, something is going wrong. I don't quite know what is going wrong yet, because we'll find that out when you guys come up with the theme for the ride and storyline. But here we go, this is it, the POV. We're heading into the testing area. And yeah, enjoy this ride on our Mack Rise double launch coaster with all the theming complete around there now. So here we go, let's launch out. Let's trail towards that first inversion over the water. Oh, love it. Looks so much different already, doesn't it, with all the trees, rocks, buildings around. You might have seen it when I first built it and thought it looks a bit plain around there. Why has he gone for that layout in some places? But it's like that. I wanted it to hang over the path into the loop. And you've got that bank round to the left now. Of course, all this was blank before. It made no sense really, but obviously we knew we were going to go over a building there, down into the tasting area. Oh no, it's all going wrong. Launch out into the incline loop, up against the building at the top, the villa, down into other inversions. Whoa, intense section of the ride there. Head down into this helix, and then back up towards the finale of the ride. Bit of airtime into another tunnel. More airtime. That's the beauty. The first section's inversions, the second section's airtime, and then into the brakes. What a beautiful ride. Thank you very much for joining me for episode 9 of Let's Play Planet Coaster here on Theme Park Worldwide. I'll be back with episode 10 next week, and yeah, that's where I'm going to reveal the name that you guys have chosen for the 3 rides in this area. I'll see you next week, and that means it's time to cue those credits. See you soon.